right, Alabama A&M, we come in. We've got a really special guest today on the Shipping Spotlight. But before we get to Miss Ashley Shaw and to learn a little bit more about her, I'm so excited to do the John Shippen Sports Business Summit at Alabama A&M University this fall, October 30th. This will be the fourth year of the John Shippen Sports Business Summit, where we bring leading sports professionals from around the country to talk about the business of sports, to really create awareness and even some opportunities for students of color. And just so excited to do that this year down in Huntsville, Alabama. And thank you so much to the University of Alabama and all of our partners for making this happen. So without further ado, my name is Solomon Hughes, Director of Marketing and Development for Intersport, and a proud member of the John Shippen team, and excited to chat with John Shippen Cognizant Cup champion of 2024, Miss Ashley Shaw. Ashley, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
How have things been?
Things been pretty good, pretty good. Summer's been really busy, but out here, especially in Arizona with this heat, it's much different than people. I think this heat sometimes can be a little underrated sometimes. People are like, oh, it's Arizona, it's a little hot, but just I think last month it was 118 at about 10 in the morning.
Oh my
So
goodness.
but we try to stay inside, and when I gotta go outside and practice, drink lots of water. But summer's been pretty good. Season's kind of slowing down a little bit. Not too many tournaments for the rest of the year. Just trying to grind, keep working, and get ready for the next season.
Absolutely. I was going to say, I feel like people from Arizona generally say try to do everything maybe before 10 a.m. or so, before it gets really hot. Is that kind of what you do when you talk about getting some work in and getting some practice in?
Definitely. If you can be done practicing by about 9:30, that's ideal because once that sun comes up over those clouds at about 7:30, it's rough. It's downhill from there.
Well, hopefully this is a nice, easy, cool conversation. Nothing too hot under the collar or anything like that. Nice and fun. This isn't hot seat. But I know you talked about playing a lot of golf and being busy. Have you had a chance to do anything fun this summer?
Absolutely. I have done a lot of fun things. I had a point in time where I think I was gone for like 3 weeks straight because I was playing in three straight tournaments. So I've had the opportunity to travel so many places. I love traveling. I even had a chance. I went to London this year, which was a lot of fun. Never been across the pond before. So that was so much fun traveling there and experiencing what it's like there because it's different from there than here. And one major thing, the weather. No one prepared me for the weather there. That final round for my tournament I had there, I had 4 jackets on. That's how cold it was. I had 4 jackets on and a pair of pants. It was
How do you
no
swing
one
a
prepared me
club?
for
It
that.
almost seems like you're in like a straight jacket. How do you get the movement to
Exactly.
swing?
It was pretty difficult because the first day it wasn't even that cold, but I was confused because I was like, why did I shoot so much better the day I had on 4 jackets for the whole round? It was raining the whole time, like 20-mile-an-hour winds the whole round, but that was the day I shot my best score on. It was a lot of fun going there, and I got to see Buckingham Palace. I got to see the Calvary because it was the King's birthday was coming up that weekend, so they were preparing, and so we happened to be there on that weekend. So we got to see them ride by. It was so much fun, and let's see, where else have I got? I've gone a lot of states this year, a lot. I went to Oregon for the first time as well this year. I'd never been to Oregon, never been to Indiana. Got to see Notre Dame. That was really cool. So I've just been traveling a lot and just enjoying the whole experience.
That's awesome. It's so important to take and to find joy in the process. And I remember talking with your dad in Grand Rapids earlier this summer, and he's talking about y'all over in London and getting a chance for the whole family to go. And there's nothing like your first time going outside the country. And once your mind kind of gets exposed to that, I'm sure that's probably helps some with your travel bug, and you just want to keep going. So super happy for
Oh,
that experience for you. And do you like the PNW and going out to the Pacific Northwest to Oregon?
oh yes. Oh yes. That was cool. It was a big difference between that and Arizona because when I got there, I was like, it's summertime, but why is everything so green? It's not supposed to be green. It's summertime. Because here in Arizona, I mean, the trees just burn up in a week. Like one week they'll be green, the next week they're completely brown. But I got there and I'm like, everything is so green and there's just so much water here. It's completely different. But it was a lot of fun. The golf course we played there was phenomenal. And the weather was actually pretty nice too. So everything was great.
Yeah, nice change of pace from the triple digits there in Phoenix. So 100% understand that. Well, want to kind of learn a bit about you and kind of talk everything that's been happening over the last few months. But starting with your LPGA debut back in May, which came as a result of the John Shippen Cognizant Cup, and you were the youngest winner ever in the John Shippen's history. Let's start with there. Let's start a little bit about what was your mindset coming into the event? What were you thinking? And then what's it mean to be the youngest winner ever?
My mindset going into the shipping, especially particularly the Cognizant, it was, I think the biggest thing that was going through my mind was when I got there, it was a practice round, right? Practice round, it was raining the whole time. And it's like, felt like it was probably 20 below, even though it wasn't, but it felt like it. But I'm just like, okay, I'm here. I'm in New Jersey. I'm playing. And what am I to expect? And then I didn't know because I'd never been there before. So I was like, I don't know what to expect. So I said, let me just, the only thing I can control is how I play and hitting the shots I can to the best of my ability. And when I got to the first hole of the actual, round, when I hit that first tee shot, I was like, okay, yep, this we're about to do this today. And all my shots from there, they just kept going right where I was wanting them to. A couple shots were like, okay, where was she going on that one? But I was able to save myself, not make too many big mistakes. And my biggest thing that I was just going through my mind was just hit your spots, do what you do best, and to have fun, just to enjoy the whole experience. And being able to be the youngest, shipping winner, that is really cool to me. And it's definitely something I didn't really think about before. But once I did it, it meant a lot to me. And it definitely excites me because I feel like it gives me, the hopefully I'll be able to play in a few more shippings and have that experience.
Absolutely, really, really cool. I think I like your chances to play in some more. Did anyone, maybe I know you're so young yourself, but did anyone maybe your age or even a little bit younger reach out to you and ask like, what's it like to play at such a high level or play against kids so much older than yourself? Did you hear anything like that this summer?
I heard a few things like that. A lot of those questions came from because I've been playing for a while now. I've kind of made friends with people who are probably 5 years younger than me and also
Hmm.
5 years older than me. So I have a wide variety of friends, and a lot of the people who are asking me, like what was it like? It I've never really been asked that before, but it got me thinking and reflecting on what it really was like. And it was really an awesome experience, and it's really an experience it's hard to describe because there's not many 15-year-olds playing in their first LPGA event, and especially an event like the Cognizant Founders Cup. That event is a wonderful event, and being able to talk to those kids and talk to, even there's a lot of adults that asked me, and just telling them like, it's when you're playing in your first professional event, your only thing you really should be thinking about is reminding yourself that it's still the same fairways, same greens, same balls, same clubs that you came with. I feel like that was a mistake I made at first. I kind of made the moment really big, and I was like, oh, it's first LPGA tournament. And then my parents reminded me, like, it's the same fairway and course you just played on, first of all, the Monday before, and two, it's the same clubs we came with and I've been playing with. So the biggest thing that I was telling a lot of people was, when you're in that situation, just play the best that you can and not worry about anyone else.
Absolutely. I think that's really good advice and tremendous perspective. Talking a little bit more about the round, and you mentioned the practice round maybe wasn't the most ideal conditions, and even just May in New Jersey is probably quite different than May in Arizona. Did you have any past experience, maybe past playing experiences or past practice experiences that you're able to draw from for your success? So I'm sure the conditions you probably faced there were so much different than what you're used to at home.
So they were a lot different, but there has been that occasional time when it does get cold in Arizona and when it starts to rain, that 2 times a year when it rains here. And those days, a lot of people stay inside on those days, but me, it's for situations like when I played in that event, that qualifier, on why on those days in particular, I'm like, yes, the golf course is free. I can go and I can practice so that I'm prepared for those situations.
That's awesome. So how long did it take to sink in after the final putt drops? Because the John Shippen Cognizant Cup was on a Monday, which is the start of tournament week. How long did it take to sink in that you were playing in the LPGA event only a couple of days later?
I think it when it finally sunk in was when I sat down after the round and we were eating, lunch in the ballroom. That's when it hit me, and I looked around and I looked at my parents and I was like, I'm playing in my first LPGA event this week. Like this is crazy. So I think then was when it hit me, and I realized that this is what I've been working for. This is what I've been preparing for since I first started, and I have this opportunity, and let's see what it takes me.
What was your favorite part of the week?
I think my favorite part of the week was when I saw my name on the locker. That was really cool. When I walked into the locker room and I saw my name on the locker, I had my own locker, and it was really cool because it was by one of the doors, so I could just go in and out of that door and get right to my locker. And it was really cool because they had a smoothie. They made like fresh smoothies in the locker room, and that was really cool because my dad, he asked me, I think it was maybe a Wednesday, and I think it was the Wednesday after, and he was like, "Where are all these people getting these smoothies from?" And I said, "I don't know. Maybe they're just getting them from Starbucks. I'm not sure." And then I went into the locker room one of the days and I said, "Wait, there's a whole smoothie machine right here. They're making smoothies over here." And that's when I came back out and he said, "Where did you get the smoothie from?" I said, "Oh, they had them in the locker room."
Did he give you a
So I
nudge
think those were
afterwards?
some of like
Like,
the really cool parts.
did he give you a nudge afterwards? Like, hey, can you? I like blueberries in mine. Anything like that?
Like, go back in there and get like two more.
Do you remember who may have been some of your locker mates? You remember who you were kind of grouped nearby? Anyone, that stuck out or any like players?
Let's see. I remember Aditya Shook. She was on the same row that I was on. And I think Lexi Thompson was also on the same row that I was on. So that was pretty cool.
That's really, really cool. Did it make you nervous being by such accomplished players or anything like that, or were you just more excited for that or the week in general?
I think my excitement kind of overtook my nerves for the week. I think I was just super excited to be there and to be in that environment, and that the nerves really kind of got shoved out the way.
Absolutely. And, you obviously are a tremendous player, tremendous talent to be able to, win the John Shippen and then play in the LPGA event. But we all know that as the higher up in golf you go, the more thin the margins are. The margins are so thin. Everyone is so good. It's just a bounce here or there that really makes all the difference. What were some things you noticed that other players were doing or were able to do that maybe you hadn't seen in other events that you'd played?
I think the biggest thing, like my biggest kind of takeaway from that whole experience there, I've always known, putting is probably the most important thing when it comes to golf because it's 9 out of 10 times that's your last stroke on the hole, unless you make a chip in or a fantastic shot from the fairway. And watching and being that up close against, the best female golfers in the whole world, being that close and personal with them, I realized, I said, there's really not that big of a gap, but the biggest thing was their putting. Those ladies could putt exceptionally well. And that's when I realized, I said, if I want to be on the same level as them, I have to be a better putter. And since then, I have made putting a very important part in my, practice routine and what I do every day. So the next time I'm in that position, I can be ready.
That's awesome. Did you pick up any new tips or drills? I feel like everyone's got the mats, they've got the gates. Did you pick up anything new that week that you use now?
I don't think there was any drills that I saw that they were doing that was different than what I tend to do, but I was able to see how to do them better. There was a lot of drills that I do, when I'm practicing, but I watch them. I'm like, okay, they're doing the same drill that I do, but they're doing it on a completely different level than what I'm doing it on. So that was the thing that I think was the kind of the biggest thing that I saw was we may be doing the same thing, but you're doing it just a little bit better, which is, why you're doing this for a living.
Def- Definitely, it's the countless hours and reps, and just I consider, or anyone who's never been to a PJ Tour event or LPGA Tour event, or just wants to watch like really good golfers, always encourage people to go to the driving range, go to the putting green. I remember the driving range, one of the first times you hear professionals hit, it just is a different sound, is what I like to say, and so I can stay in there hours and pick up a lot of the things that Ashley saw in New Jersey that week. So let's take it back even to the all the way to the beginning. How'd you get started in golf?
So I've been playing for a while now, but I feel like I didn't really start playing golf and start playing competitively. Probably, I think I was 11. So about 4 years ago is when I first started to, start playing golf. And I started just competing in a lot of the local events. And then I realized, I said, if I really want to be good at this, I gotta travel. I gotta start seeing what more there is to offer than just desert golf. Because I got pretty good at the desert golf, but you gotta be able to play more than in 110. And when you miss the fairway, it's cactus. So I started traveling a lot more, playing more competitive events. And it's events like even the John Shippen that gave me those more competitive event opportunities. Because with the first year I played the John Shippen, that was my first time playing with professionals. Like I hadn't played professionals up until that point. And so playing in events like that, it really opened my eyes to what competitive golf really looks like. And I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, that's awesome. Was it mom or dad that kind of got you to the game, and was it the thing that they had to kind of maybe force you to start, or were you always hooked right from the beginning?
So from the beginning, I really liked it. I played every other sport before I started playing golf, but once, because my dad, he introduced me into the game. And once he introduced me to it, I realized, I said, this is like ridiculously fun. Like I have to continue doing this. I don't know what it is about being so focused on a little white golf ball and trying to get it into a little hole on the other side of the fairway, but it is just a lot of fun. And currently, my mom is actually my coach. So this whole thing has been a family experience, and I am very grateful for my parents for even introducing me into this wonderful game.
I think that feeling you're talking about is you caught one really flush. Everyone knows what it's like, and
Oh
you just
yes,
catch
oh
one
yes.
clean, whether you meant to do it or not. You're just like, wow, that just felt good. It's almost like your hands kind of warm on the club, and you're just like, so. I've been there on accident a few times, and so I can understand what you're talking about. I think you and your mom have just the coolest relationship, and always love that you guys have the matching outfits. Could you guys just talk a little bit about that, and how that kind of came to be?
So, okay, so it's kind of a funny story. So, before my mom and I were matching, a lot of times my dad and I were matching. And we still match, but a lot of times three of us be out there, it would just be the two of us matching. And then I said, why is it just the two of us matching? Why don't we all match? And so we were all started matching, and then there was some times where my dad was like, I'm not wearing that. I'm not gonna wear that. So then those are times where my mom and I were matching, and I've always been one who likes when people can see, like, okay, that's a team. They're all together. These people are all together. And I think that was a really important to me for people to understand, we're a team and we're all moving together to reach the same goal.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really cool. I did not know that. I knew a little bit, but that's really really cool. Who gets more nervous between mom and dad?
I'm really not sure. That's a good question. I'm really not sure. I tend a lot of times when I'm playing, when my mom is caddying for me, I can definitely tell she's pretty nervous sometimes. And that's not her fault. It's honest, that's my fault because I do some stuff sometimes that I can understand that she would make her nervous sometimes. So I feel like most of the time if she's caddying for me, it's probably her when they're both when I'm kind of by myself and they're both watching me, I sometimes, and I'm looking over at them, I'm like, I wonder what's going through their head right now when I just did something.
Who
So I really can't tell most of the time, which is a good thing.
who picks out the outfits, or is it kind of a team effort?
Usually me. I usually am the one that picks it out. I tell my mom what I'm looking for, and she goes and she finds it.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So it's also awesome and so happy for you that you got to do so much travel and play so many events this summer. I'm sure is tiring, but sounds very, very fulfilling. Would you say the success you had in New Jersey in May propelled you to the summer? I saw you finish what T2 at the AJGA Patrick Reed event, and I know how difficult it is to finish a high there. What did the experience in New Jersey? How did that impact the rest of the summer for you?
The experience in New Jersey, it impacted the rest of my summer very significantly because the things I learned from playing in that LPGA event, I was able to carry that over into my practice and then into my upcoming rounds. So, like I was talking about the putting, learning what I knew how to putt before, but watching those LPGA ladies, they really showed this is what good putting looks like. And so being able to carry over things like that into my practice, into my upcoming tournaments, that I feel like has allowed me to have a pretty good summer this year.
Oh, that's great. I know you said you're just back in school. Does the rest of and you're kind of maybe a little bit quiet the rest of the fall, so you're not playing as many tournaments, or what does the rest of the year look like for you?
Not playing too many tournaments. I'm playing, although I am playing in a USGA women's floorball qualifier coming up in about 2.5 weeks, I think. So I'm playing in that, but other than that, the rest of the year is really just working on schoolwork and just preparing for the next season. So next season I can come ready.
Oh, so excited. Did you take away any, just playing with some older players who maybe have a little bit more experience than you? Did you take away any like friendships, or they offer any kind of like advice or mentorship? And if so, who were some of those players you maybe had a chance to kind of stay in touch with who you met, this past year?
Absolutely. So even specifically when I played in the John Shippen event, those ladies were extremely helpful when it came to telling me what to expect when it came to practice rounds, what it came to expect with, dining, with the locker rooms, with the practicing, all that stuff. They were extremely helpful. And I I don't really know what I would have done in those navigating my way through that event if it hadn't been for them. And so I'm so grateful for even with the John Ship and them introducing me to those people. I'm extremely grateful.
That's awesome, and really, we're just so proud. You've been a tremendous ambassador, a tremendous champion, but it really is a sense of community and a sense of family, all here for one another, and so great you have that experience. Take us a little bit more behind the scenes about practicing. I know we talked about it at the beginning, but specifically, just talk to us about that in a little bit more detail. How long do you practice for? Are you maybe hitting the range? Do you actually just play more? Is it a combination of both? Just take us through that a little bit.
So when it comes to my practice, a lot of times what I will do is, let's say I just had a tournament like the previous weekend. I'll note what things I did well in that event and what things could have been better. And when I go to my practice, I focus my practice towards those things. For probably, I'd say 75% of my practice. The other 25%, I do the things that I just know I need to continue to either get better at, or whether or not I'm good at them, or if I struggle with them, they need to be better. So most of my practice is things that I'm focused on from what I did in my previous event. And then I carry that over to the things I know I might even need for my next event. I'll look at the course. Because I know what courses I'm playing pretty far out in advance, I can look at greens guides, look at course maps, figure out what things I'll need for those upcoming events and practice those things. So by the time I get there, I'm prepared.
And then in terms of just like actually going out and playing the golf course and kind of executing what you're practicing in real time, how often would you say, if you're looking at a Monday through Friday, how many holes do you think play a week?
Ideally, with school starting, it's been a little difficult to play
Hmm.
18 a day. So usually, if I can get about 9 in, I'm good. But during the summertime during the summertime, usually about 18 a day. Sometimes if there's no one out there, I can get 36 in. And those are the best days when I can get 36 in.
She said, "Let me grab a PB&J at the turn and keep moving
Exactly.
and keep moving." Oh man, I love that. Outside of putting, what's been a big area of focus for you?
Big area of focus is short game,
Mm.
chipping, bunker play, all those shots around the short game area because other than putting, that's another really important thing when it comes to scoring. And so those things have been a very crucial part of my practice recently.
Are there other players, maybe professionally or just maybe a little bit older than you, or even not playing anymore, that you kind of emulate your game after, or that you maybe look up to from their playing days?
So when I think about my game, I at first when I was younger, I tried to think like who do I swing like, who do I play like? And then I realized I kind of have a different style of play than most players. So there really isn't anyone who I try to style my game after. But when it comes to the mental standpoint, there are a lot of players who I realize how, mentally strong they are and how they handle themselves when they're on the course. And I do try to do a lot of those things when I am playing.
So, we talking about practicing now, and practicing's only so fun, so we can move to the next topic soon. But I feel like a lot of times people can get frustrated, maybe similar to homework. They don't want to do their homework for school or for a test because it's not exciting, it's not fun. How do you kind of deal with frustration amongst the practice and wanting to keep going? Because golf's such a hard sport to really master. How do you deal with the different frustrations that come?
I think when the frustrations come, I have to remind myself that kind of like you said, it's part of the process to get to the goal that I want to achieve. And so when I am playing, specifically even in tournaments, when something doesn't quite go the way I want to, I've found myself in previous years where it's like, okay, thing didn't go right, it's just gonna go downhill from there. But learning from those players who have a good mental game, who have those positive attitudes, realizing, okay, this hole didn't quite go the way I wanted to, but no one said the next hole had to do that. So that's kind of my mentality, is reminding myself that it's part of the process and whatever happened in the past has already happened. But you can fix whatever is going to happen, what you're going to do next.
Cool. That's awesome. Outside of off the golf course, what do you like to do for fun? Do you still play other sports?
So I play tennis a little bit. I don't play tennis as much as I used to, but I still play tennis a little bit. I love playing the piano. I love writing skits. I love writing stories. It's one thing I'm really passionate about, is writing. I could write all day. I love writing. And I think the biggest thing, I love spending time with my family, and I have a pretty big family, so if someone's over there that I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go over with this person." So so I love spending time with my family and just overall having fun being like a teenage kid.
So maybe it's something you've already written or something you want to write, but explain to us or tell us what like an ideal, plot or story, is from your eyes. Maybe it is something you've already done, or maybe you're something you could just dream a perfect skit or story, if you will.
So actually I wrote a skit, I believe this was last year. I wrote a skit, and because something else I'm really passionate about. I love fashion design. Like, I'm really into clothes, which I'm sure a lot of the John Shippen people have realized at this point. I'm really big into that, and I also am really big into singing and acting and all those things like that. So one of the skits I wrote was a group of friends, and I think they were seventh graders. It was a group of seventh grade girls, and they were performing at a talent show, and they were all singers and dancers. And so the point was kind of describing how, when they first met, they all kind of knew each other, not really. Beginning of the school year, it's new school, new friends. You don't really know as many people, but they came together and formed a group, realized each other's talents, and ultimately at the end gave the best performance of the talent show and ended up winning the show.
Was it maybe a TV show or movie or play that you saw growing up that kind of gave you the itch to do this, or have you just always liked, writing and kind of creating like stories?
I've always loved writing and creating. I'm and performing. I've been performing since I was 3, I believe. So when I was younger, I used to make like these little tickets out of paper, and I used to write, like make tickets to give to my family, to give them tickets to my shows in the living room. So I've always been a performer and love doing things in that.
Oh, that's awesome. So if you can do both, but if you could get to one first, would you rather get to Broadway first or the LPGA tour?
LPGA tour and then Broadway.
Okay, okay, we'll be at both front row. Just save us a seat, maybe in like the loge or something, and then inside the ropes. We'll count on you for that. We'll get you out of here soon. Just want to hear from you. For audience, because John Shippen, really the best of the best golfers, and unfortunately, not everyone's had a chance to play, and not everyone's had a chance to win. Just what does it mean to play in the event, and then what did it mean to win?
Playing in the John Shippen, it meant a lot to me because understanding the history behind the event and being able to have the opportunity to be a part of that. That's being playing the John Shippen, it is a prestigious event. And once I played the first year, I realized there's only a select few that even get invited to play in it. And for me to have been invited, I think I was 14 when I played in it the first time. Being able to be invited at such a young age and then being invited back, it meant the world to me. I was super excited when I saw the invitation for this year. I was so excited because I was really hoping I could get into it. And it's an event I look forward to playing. Like ever since the first one, I was like, John Shippen, I need to make that room for that on my calendar every year now. So it's a tournament that means a lot to me, and I am extremely grateful to be a part of it.
Oh, well, again, tremendous champion, nothing but class, and just can't say thanks enough for everything you've done, for us this year, Ashley, for the time today, and budding career, both on the golf course and off. So we're excited to see more of you and just wish you best of luck with everything forward.